Auction clearance rates have risen above 70% for the first time since May 2017. However, auction activity is relatively low, with the number of new listings down on last year. Joining me now is Kevin Brogan from CoreLogic to discuss on that, to elaborate on that rather. Kevin, so how did things stack up last weekend when we're talking about auctions, and how do you think things could turn out this weekend?
Yes, so you're right in the introduction. I mean, we're obviously seeing relatively low levels of auction activity, and that's certainly a seasonal thing. But both Sydney and Melbourne achieved a 76.2% clearance rate. Look, if you're looking for a tiebreaker, Melbourne had more auctions, so I suppose technically they win that race. But look, what we're looking forward to in the coming weekend, we're seeing slight increase in auction activity. I think last weekend we had 100 auctions more than the previous weekend. This coming weekend we're looking for another 100 on top, so 1,320 auctions across the combined capital cities. Still a long way down on where we were last year. But look, the demand and the confidence on the buyer side certainly still seems to be sustained. We've seen that now over a few weeks, and I expect this weekend we'll probably see similar results in terms of the clearance rates.
Right. So I mean, you say this is seasonal. So is there anything to compare when you're looking at figures and you compare at this stage of the year to this time last year? Is there anything out of the ordinary there?
Oh, look, I think comparing it to last year, I mean, we've got 1,300 auctions this weekend, as I said, and last year it was 1,900. But I think you can maybe cast back a bit further and have a look at the last time that we had a bit of a softening in the market in 2011, and then the recovery in 2012. And I think people returning to the market on the demand side are able to demonstrate their confidence much more quickly than on the supply side. So look, it doesn't seem unnatural that the rate of people bringing properties to market is a little lower than the normal seasonal impact that we'd expect. And
when we're talking about prices, how are they going at the moment? Is there an expectation that once the seasons change and we get into the warmer months, that there will be more auctions? I mean, that's what logic would suggest. According to our history anyway, and does that when you'll find in the capital cities anyway, or some of them, that the prices will start to increase substantially?
Oh, look, I mean, I think if we see a surge of listings, that will exert, if you like, a downward pressure on both clearance rates and potentially on prices, just because there'll be additional supply in the market. I think the question that we need to have answered is whether there's sufficient demand to take up that supply. Sydney and Melbourne both well over 20% fewer new listings than this time last year. And that's sort of resulting in a situation where there is actually now less stock on the market than last year. So any new listings will enter the market in that context.
Right. So who's winning again, out of demand or supply?
Well, look, at the moment, what we're seeing is a real, really strong confidence in the success rate at auctions, with clearance rates above 76%, but on low volumes. What we need to establish in the weeks ahead is if more supply comes onto the market, are they sustainable? Is there that latent demand which is going to take up any additional supply?
All right, Kevin Brogan from CoreLogic. Really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Peter.